a hugely important one to Kerry. And they know David Clifford's classy finish in the final minutes in Clones is one of the standout moments of this year's championship. How important will it be? We'll know later on this evening. 3 changes from the Kerry side that began the draw with Monaghan. Jason Foley replaces Ronan Shanahan in the corner. And the other change in the defence comes at centre half back, and as you can see in at 6 is Killian Young back from suspension at the expense of Mark Griffin, with Peter Crowley reverting to full back. The third change is at wing forward as Micheál Burns comes in for Kevin McCarthy. Sean O'Shea will continue his good form. He will hope tonight at centre forward, and they look to get good ball into Kieran Donaghy, Paul Ganey and the man of the moment Clifford. That would go a long way to them fulfilling their side of the bargain. Well, despite there being an opportunity to give some of his fringe panellists a run, Cian O'Neill has made just one change. Niall Kelly comes in to replace the suspended Daniel Flynn at full forward. Right now in Fitzgerald Stadium there is a moment's silence for John O'Riordan, the former chairperson of the New York GAA board. John O'Riordan, a native of Brandon in County Kerry. So John O'Riordan being remembered in Killarney this evening, and now it's time in Fitzgerald Stadium for Aral Naveen. Well, it's a big crowd. There were 15,000 or so tickets sold. They did expect a pretty good walk-up crowd as well, and that appears to be the case. They're still streaming in at either end of Fitzgerald Stadium, and they are hoping to witness a Kerry team book their place in the All-Ireland semi-final. It's 6 years since they last failed to reach the last 4. The man in the middle tonight, a Tipperary man, Derek O'Mahony. And he's got plenty of experience on the sidelines as well, including Lucius Morris-Deegan. Dick Clerkin alongside us in the commentary box. You feel that if Kildare, Dick, are to be a real factor in this game, they need to lead, they need to be in the game. Chasing a Kerry team that have gone up front when you've nothing to play for yourself is no mean task.
They do, and that's a lot of the pre-match talk, is how has Cian O'Neill prepared his team, and he said himself he won't know till the ball is thrown in where their appetite is. Are they up for the challenge? I think they do. Their body language has been very good, but we'll soon see.
Well, the last time they met was in the All-Ireland quarter-finals in Croke Park. That was 3 years ago, and Kerry dished out the mother of all beatings to Jason Ryan's Kildare that day. Kildare will hope to be playing with a little more pride and passion this evening. First sign of the early long ball into the Kerry full forward Kieran Donaghy, but Kildare dealt with it, and now it's in the hands of Kevin Flynn. This is Fergal Conway. He's having a wonderful season. In fact, the entire Kildare half forward line, Conway and the Criven brothers, have been in excellent form. Taken on by Johnny Byrne. Inside towards Kevin Feely, who's gone into play in the forward line. As now Kerry go on the offensive. Gavin White captaining the team today, a member of the Dr. Crokes Club here in Killarney. Again, Donaghy fails to get that early ball in. A couple of early wins in there for Mick O'Grady. Paddy Brophy, wonderful ball drilled into the hands of Cribben. Niall Kelly in the team due to the suspension to Daniel Flynn, lays it back for Cribben again. Long range effort from him. Oh, that's a good score. Paul Cribben picks up from where he left off against Galway in Newbridge, and that's a cracking opener.
Yeah, it was, and in fairness, Paul Gribben's been in great scoring form all year. But again, that kick from Paddy Brophy, he's done that numerous occasions this season, that long rangy ball down the wing, feinting his man. You can see early on, both teams fairly open layout, no sweepers, man for man. This is the makings of a fairly good game.
That's a trip on David Moran. And Moran goes early and long again. This time it does stick for Kieran Donaghy. Inside it goes to David Clifford. Got a call in behind. Micheál Burns tries to bend it off the right. Instep, he does exactly that. We're level. It's been a bright start here in Killarney.
Michael Bird, he impressed when he came on against Monaghan. He was one of the players that really sort of stepped up, showed a wee bit of energy, a bit more endeavour that they were missing for so long in the game. He'd be glad that he got off the mark tonight to justify a starting place.
One of the members of the 2014 edition of the Kerry minor team that won in All-Ireland, the first of the 3 in a row. I should say, if you're tuning in for the tennis here, the ATP 500 in Washington is live via the red button. As Gainey can't hold on to that one, being well marshalled by Peter Kelly. And that'll be a free out for Kildare.
And fairness, Kildare have dealt very well. That's 3 long balls they've done, but just to be careful now, they don't just cough up easy possession, which they have done.
A really bad mistake from that free out. And looking to make them pay is David Clifford on his left foot, and that's tailed away to the right and wide.
A snapshot, you know, David Clifford, you can see when he gets on the ball, he's not always looking to shoot first 2 possessions. He did lay it off, but he knows his range. We've seen against Monaghan that that's well within his range. Just tailed off there with that effort.
In the middle they go, Kildare. That's a wonderful take in the middle of the field from Kevin Feely. On his shoulder was Keith Cribben, looking to replicate what his brother has done perhaps. He goes down, no foul, and the referee gives the free the other way.
It was really good defending from Peter Crowley. You could see he'd made ground, but he just stood up, let him go to ground, cover him up. Good solid turnover from Kerry.
So Kerry on the attack through Tom O'Sullivan, one of their better performers up in Clones, again towards Donny, and it very well watched by Mick O'Grady. That's 4 long direct balls into the Kerry full forward. Kildare have dealt with 3 of those. This is the fullback David Hyland across to Kevin Flynn. There's a risky crossfield hand pass. Conway trying to make the most of it, and he's nudged in the back by Stephen O'Brien and led in early towards Niall Kelly. It's 3 on 3 inside. Kelly up against O'Sullivan. Feely. Good defending from Kerry. Back out it goes to Cribben, and he's just tugged that a little, and that's the first point of the game for Kildare.
And again, very good man-on-man defending from Kerry. You know, they're not needing sweepers or doubling men up. Men are standing up the first and then allowing support to come. And Peter Crowley again in that defensive play was very, very influential.
That's a really accurate kick from Brian Kelly. Back between the sticks at the expense of Shane Murphy. Moran guides that one. It popped up neatly for Sean O'Shea. And both sides letting the ball do the work at the moment. Micheál Burns dragged down in the middle of the field, and he's fouled the ball. And there's certainly no lacking in intensity or tempo from Kildare in this first 5 minutes.
No, and that's exactly what Cian O'Neill going into the game, he wasn't sure what he see from his Kildare players, and that's when you know when a team is tuned in. It's around that middle third, around that contact area. Is the player wanting to push up that wee bit more? In that instance, he got the answer he was looking for.
Kevin Flynn back to Paul Cribben, Keith Cribben rather. Kevin Flynn again. This is Neil Flynn. Makes the space for the shot, strikes that one straight and true. That's a wonderful hit, and Kildare retake the lead.
Yeah, lovely score, and the reality is with Daniel Flynn out of the picture now, you know, the scores are going to have to come elsewhere. But in fairness, Neil Flynn, like, he's 132 in his name, which in fairness to him is a great tally for any season. So he'll be able to be relied upon here tonight if he gets plenty of ball.
Stephen O'Brien, one of the many speedsters in this Kerry team. Again, you can see that is a real policy in the opening exchange, is to go long and early, but that was not a decent effort. Straight down the throat of Peter Kelly. David Hyland was pointing to the space in which he wanted Neil Fryn to make the run. Back out to Paul Cribben. And now Mulick. Paddy Brophy, he can certainly go from range. Slips it across to Keith Cribben. Kerry have left their inside forward line in place. Gainey, Donaghy and Clifford, everyone else behind the ball. Lovely show and go from Tommy Mulick. And the strike is clean. It's a really well orchestrated score, patiently done by Kildare.
One of the big things, of the big positives for Kildare this year, is the spread of scores. They've been picking up scores right around the field, no more so around the midfield. That's Tommy Mulick's 7th point of the championship. Compare that to Kerry. David Moore's only got a point, Jack Barry's got a point. So Kildare have a good spread of scores.
Penny out to that flank again. Moran takes it well. He's one of the best exponents of that skill of the game in the country. Now there was a push in the back there again, and Kildare now are just getting a little bit on top here. And they look like they're enjoying themselves. Nothing to lose, I guess, is certainly one way you can look at the Kildare situation. They can play with a real sense of freedom here.
Oh, and if you wanted another good example of their intent with her own die, just burned out past young Sean O'Shea there, and that showed how much he wanted to go for that ball.
Johnny Byrne gets caught in possession. There's Moran again. Gives it to Gavin White. Gainey. Not having the best of championships, the former All-Star. And he could spark into life at any moment. Moran. Now Stephen O'Brien. And once he squares you up, it's very difficult to stop him going past you. Donaghy just taps one over. Made by O'Brien, finished by the full forward.
Mix it up. It was interesting. Kieran Donaghy pulled right out of the centre. It was almost as if he said to the lads, right, I've had 4 or 5 balls here, haven't made any of them. Figure something else out. And he just put it up to Stephen O'Brien to figure it out himself, and he did. He cut through, and then who was there to take it on the turn? Kieran Donaghy.
Full court press from Kerry on the kick out, forcing Donlan to go down the middle. Both sides have huge men around the middle of the field. It's a really good contest. Those aerial duels will be fascinating to watch. Kerry have won another one though. And again that diagonal ball. Donnelly backing into O'Grady, and Donaghy just loses his footing. And Mick O'Grady used all of his experience there just to ease Donaghy off it. Here's Brophy. He's been allowed to carry this ball a long way, Paddy Brophy, given the time to try and pick out a pass, but Kerry had Peter Crowley sweeping in front and Jason Foley coming away with the ball. Gavin White runs into Fergal Conway. And Conway put enough pressure on him, a bit too much pressure, according to the referee.
Yeah, again, I'd be quite happy with Kerry's defence in the full back line. They're holding a good enough shape, and they seem to have the measure of the men inside. It's sort of out around the sort of middle third where they're cutting through. They need to be more careful.
Number 4 is up against each other. David Clifford pulls that across goal. He was under a bit of pressure. He's had 2 efforts now. Both have drifted to the right and wide.
Just that sort of snapshot. We sort of had a few of those in the first half against Monaghan. Just didn't find his eye, but you know, a player like David Clifford will not be long. He gets enough opportunities honing in.
Donald picked up by the palms of Killian Young. 10 years after his debut, still has plenty of pace. Back from suspension today. Brophy trying to prevent him getting any closer to the Kildare goal. And a snapshot off the ground, similar to the goal that he scored against Galway late on at Croke Park in the rain from David Clifford, and that'll be a 45.
Yeah, hint of a possible free for Killian Young. He'd always been pulled back. Referee sort of give, you can see there the arm over the shoulder. I think the referee sort of give that maybe even with the advantage, but nevertheless maybe he thought a goal chance was coming. Again, David Clifford just snapping at that. Disappointed he hasn't got on the score sheet yet. one area early on where Kerry and Fitzmaurice will be much happier is on the kickouts. You know, really in the first half, that's what put them on the back foot against Monaghan. They've been much better. Looking at our stats here now, they're 7-1. They're really pushing up on Kildare's kickouts and winning on their own. So that's a really good positive for Kerry.
So Sean O'Shea, who has shown he's very capable from this sort of range, from the outside of the league and then into the championship, but that just curled a little too much. Kerry's third wide, Kildare still lead by 1.
He doesn't miss many. He was very, very impressive, you know, in that first half, going back and referring back to that Monaghan game, but it pivoted in many ways the aspects going into this weekend. He was one of the players that just kept that scoreboard ticking because he was sort of flawless from the dead ball.
Straight down the middle, and again it's Kerry come up with the break. Forward it goes to White. Mullick trying to stay close to him. Mullick did very well. Looked like he'd lost his man. And here come Kildare, just 2 of their men ahead of the ball at the moment. Niall Kelly has one, Neil Finn the other. Here's Kelly. Keith Cribben. A little jink took him beyond Stephen O'Brien. This is Conway. And there again, Richton getting caught in possession. Brophy across to Kelly. Good drive from Kelly. Oh, he's still going. It's opened up for the cornerback. And Peter Kelly, that's a really well taken score. Doesn't find himself in that position too often. He's a man of so much experience, Peter Kelly, and he'll be delighted with that one.
And he's a really good season. Like Peter Kelly, an all-star from a good few years back. He sort of, with injuries and all the rest, you thought he was a player that was past his best. He's really bounced back for Kildare. That's his 3rd point from cornerback. Not afraid of driving up and getting a score. And that was a score that Kildare needed. I know they're still ahead, but started showing signs that Kerry were getting a grip on the game. So that'll give a real good drive to Kildare players.
And that 3rd point of this year's championship for him makes it his most profitable championship for quite some years. Kerry, though, coming down the other end looking for a score through Tom O'Sullivan. Brilliantly blocked down by the man who's just put one over the bar at the other end. Here's Paul Gainey trying to slide one inside where O'Sullivan continued his run. Fell between him and Donaghy, and now Kildare can break. Game being played at a real pace. Great ball from Cribben for Kelly. And across it goes to Brophy. Niall Kelly. Cribben from long range. Oh, everything Kildare touch turns to goal right now from those distance efforts. It's another one for Cribben.
Yeah, all credit to Kildare, but Kerry are just handing these chances to them. You know, Kerry have been so sloppy going forward. You already talked about David Clifford's missed chances. Paul Gainey really should have been a player of his experience, knowing that was a time to get a point, to keep the scoreboard ticking, trying to be too cute. And again, now they find themselves 3 points in arrears, and really shouldn't be.
Cribben's tallied to 15 points in this year's championship. He has been such a major contributor to the Kildare attack. Here's his brother Keith. It's very warm, very muggy conditions here in Kerry tonight. Kildare have been playing in this type of conditions for the last few weeks. Very hot in Newbridge against Galway and indeed Mayo. They've given it away here though. Cheaply surrendered. Micheál Burns. Inside is Jack Barry. This may well be one of his first touches. Kind of charged his way through was O'Sullivan, who was laid off to Barry. Trying to go outside Fergal Conway, who stands his ground. Back to O'Sullivan. Donaghy. High corner, Kieran Donaghy needs some support. And they're trying to hold their defensive line. Clifford switches the play across to Gavin White, another one of the new faces like Clifford in the Kerry team this year. And here's another, and Micheál Burns, he looks like he's been kicking those scores at senior level for years. It's a lovely point, his second.
Yeah, great, another star forwards on doing their job. Young Burns steps up and knocks another one over. Again, in fairness, give him credit, he hasn't got his eye on goals, but you can see David Clifford, what he can deliver in terms of creativity. He knew they were getting caught up in the corner, and any good coach will say when the play gets built up on one side, the danger's on the other side. Very quick transition, open up the space, and another good score there for Micheál Burns.
his 4th point of the championship. Broken off Stephen O'Brien. Foul by Mulek.
It just shows you, Dave, how wasteful Kerry have been in possession. You look at kickouts now, how they dictate the pace of the game and who's got possession. 11-1, looking at the stats here in front of that. For a team of Kerry's quality, this should be well ahead with that possession. They're 2 points behind, and that's only down to how wasteful they have been in front of goal.
David Moran takes one touch, looks to the post, and puts it over the bar. 2 on the spin for Kerry, and the lead is down to 1.
Better. And talked about before the game, Kerry's senior players needing to step up, and that would have been pointed very much at David Moore. You know, going back to his sort of 2014 season when he was a standout midfielder, he hasn't reached those heights, and it's good to see him back on the scoreboard because he can score for Kerry.
10 years since his inter-county day with David Moore, and he's one of the most experienced heads in this panel. It's been a career racked by injury, missed 2 full seasons, and a series of knee and eye injuries. Here's Kevin Flynn. Got a call from behind by Brophy. Brophy should have the distance from there, and it's just to the left and wide. Kildare's 2nd wide of the game. 9 scores, Dick, all have been from play. It's been a real flow to the match.
Well, we sort of knew going in that was the potential. You know, 2 scores, have been racking up big scores, have been known to concede plenty as well. There was always going to be quite an open game the way Kildare were never going to come down here and shut up shop and nothing really to play for. So it's as we sort of hoped it would be. Very enjoyable game so far.
Paddy Brophy takes it inside the 45. Niall Kelly. Kelly just sizes up the target. Very little backlift and over it goes. The scores keep coming. That voice you can hear on the sideline constantly is the Kildare manager, Cian O'Neill, in your picture a moment ago. He must be very pleased by what he's seen so far.
Yeah, just seeing it back on the replay, a lovely dummy hand pass, just so the dummy open up the shot. Really, really nice stylish play there for Niall Kelly for that point.
Stephen O'Brien spotted the run of Donaghy. Even his basketball skills couldn't see him hold on to that one one-handed. Again, Mick O'Grady doing a really good job on the former footballer of the year at the moment. Paul Cribben going to stick with him as Killian Young. He hasn't done so. Cribben still going, trying to run across the run of Young in a bit to draw at least a free. Now why bother with a free when you can just find the post? It's his 3rd from play. What a season he's having.
Again, many points now for Kildare have come from not just turnovers, but that type of turnover, this long ball. I think Mick O'Grady must have at least 5 or 6 of those turned over, and that's given Kildare a platform. Now, from him, as Marsh's point of view, he needs to decide fairly quickly, is he going to persist with this, because they're 3 points down and they're coughing up far too much possession.
And Kildare won another kick out. That's just their 4th win, but it's 2 in a row. Turnovers wise, it's 8-4 in Kildare's favour. 9 if you include the kick out they've just won, and that's certainly contributing to the way that they are attacking this Kerry team at the moment. Mulek goes back to Kevin Flynn. Kildare have arrived to play football in the sunshine in the Kingdom. No pressure, no nerves involved with the circumstances they arrived into the game with, and if they got another one, they have, you know. It's a really good exhibition of point taking at the moment from this Kildare team. Kevin Flynn, the latest man to get involved, that's his 2nd.
Lovely take and score. When you're going into a game with no pressure, and especially when you hit a bit of a lead up, listen, Killarney, look at the sun's peeking out. There's no better place to play football, and Kildare are really enjoying it here at the minute.
It's Flynn's 1st, rather. Coming up from wing back. 6 different scores for those 8 points for Kildare. Kildare have got 3 points, almost in the blink of an eye in the last 90 seconds. Go back to their goalkeeper, Mark Donnellan. Needs a bit of support here. A long way from home. Brophy's picking up an awful lot of ball in a very deep position. He's a good finisher, but he can also control the game. Good range of passing. And the Kerry support getting a little bit restless. Keith Cribben. In behind Donaghy it goes. If he wasn't to be outfoxed by the trajectory of that pass. And he's got them up and running quickly. Paul Murphy helps it on to Gainey. The man from Dingle finds Clifford. Can he beat his man on the outside? Clifford curls it in. He's had a couple of missed efforts, but that's exactly what he was looking for off his left foot.
Yeah, and I think you could see the long-term transition of Kerry football here. That's the shape Kerry need. Paul Clifford or Gainey looking for space, not looking for the 50-50 ball up in the air like they're pumping in on top of Kieran Dunne. He made the run, he showed the space, and he ball in hand, and that man will finish. That's where Kerry need to be playing for the rest of this game.
Peter Kelly trying to beat Stephen O'Brien for pace. Not many do that. Oh, that's a clear third-man tackle. The referees let it go. Here's Keith Cribben running into contact, and Kildare get turned over anyway. Here's Sean O'Shea looking for the run of Gainey out in front of the Kildare skipper Owen Doyle. Doyle gets a hand in. Gainey just jinks into the space, finds David Moore, and goal chances. He pushed over, penalty, says the referee. Huge moment potentially in this game. Kerry walked through the heart of the Kildare defence, and they have a chance through David Clifford to draw level.
It just goes back to that better approach, again following on from the point I just made in terms of giving that better accurate pass into Paul Gainey or into the Kerry forward that was shown on the ground. Got the ball. These Kerry footballers, when the ball in hand 9 times out of 10 they make the right decision. The problem is they've been giving the ball away too cheaply. Just waited for the run. David Moore, and again the player we've talked about already, wanting to show his a wee bit more drive and lift than we've seen so far, stepped up. Great opportunity for Kerry to get back into this game now.
2-12 he's scored in the championship, 2-8 of those in the crucial Super 8 games. Doesn't turn 20 till January. This man's a phenomenon. Can he add to his ever-increasing reputation? He can. Cool as you like. Clifford got the late goal that kept Kerry's dreams of a semi-final alive in Clones, and he's got the first goal today.
Just listen now to the Kerry crowd here. You can see there's a huge Kerry crowd here, well plus of 15,000. They would have been a wee bit anxious what they were looking at those last couple of minutes, the way they played the ball, that getting that goal. You can already hear the drive coming from Kerry already.
The youngest man on the Kerry team took on all the responsibility, and he was needed to step up and hit that penalty. And now they've got some momentum with them. They've never led in this game, Kerry, but they're close to doing that now. That's wide off the fist, though, of Mill Burns, who's looking for his third.
I think he'd have got probably the biggest cheer he would have got in his career today if he'd knocked that over. Such as the cheer coming from the stand after that goal and winning the kick out. But Kerry have lifted the gear. You know, you can see they've got a bit more confidence. The life was sucked out of them there for a few minutes, but that has just got a real bit of energy into their legs.
They need to win the next ball, you feel. Almost won by Feely. Did well to regather it and find a man in white in Niall Kelly. Kelly wanted to play it early. Does. Finds Neil Flynn. Going to stand up his marker. Keith Cribben. Back to Flynn. Wants it on his left. And just a fraction too soft. Easy for Brian Kelly in the end. Crowley runs into Niall Kelly, who catches him around the neck.
See the referee has the book out. Sure, I think he probably stood up. Let's see. I've seen worse still. I say he might get a yellow, but I don't think there was anything really sinister behind that.
First booking of the game. Goes the way of the man from Athy. He hasn't found it easy to get into this Kildare team. Most of his contributions have been from the bench. Now they're making a change with Keith Cribben coming off, Chris Healy coming in. You can only imagine, is that tactical, Dick? He's got on a lot of ball, Keith Cribben, obviously been upstaged by his brother, but it does look to me like Keith Cribben's race is run.
Could be. Very unusual now. As a player, you'd be very disappointed getting the curly finger before half time unless there was something really going wrong. Definitely from us looking in, you couldn't see it. So maybe he's carrying a bit of injury. We don't know.
Sean O'Shea helps it inside to Clifford. Watching him is David Hyland. Here's O'Shea again. Back out to Paul Murphy, an All-Star Award winner in his first year 4 years ago as Kerry won the All-Ireland. Clever use of the fist pass to Gavin White. Donaghy turned down the chance to shoot himself, gave it to one of the best finishers around, and David Clifford takes his personal tally to 1-2.
Much smarter, much more intelligent play from Kerry. Again, they're keeping the ball in possession. I just wonder, has the message gone out, because there's definitely been a switch in their type of play, and they're not pumping in speculative ball. Donaghy was involved in that play, but this time as a provider, and he was given a nice wee pop pass into his hand to knock off to the shooter.
1-2 have all been in a row. He's got the last 3 scores in the game, and it sees Kerry lead for the first time 26 minutes in. Brophy inside to Mick O'Grady. Kildare haven't scored for just 7 minutes, but in that 7-minute spell they've seen a 4-point lead evaporate. Kevin Flynn, Healy wants his first touch, he gets it. Tries to step inside, Gavin White, back to Conway, half blocked down, and the bench just misjudged by Brian Kelly, and he just stood on the end line. He would have caught that one easily enough.
Yeah, looking now, you've probably 10 minutes to play. These 10 minutes could really dictate how the rest of this game is going to go. Like, Kildare were really been brought into this game by Kerry's sort of inefficiency up front. That has changed in the last sort of 5 minutes plus, and you can sort of see the way Kerry are starting to take hold of this game. Daniel Flynn, the question going in, how big a loss? He's a massive loss, because you can see there's plenty of space in there, but they're just not able to exploit it. And I think as the game grows on, it'll be felt even more.
Flynn has already kicked one from play. Most of his scores this summer have come from frees. This will be his 21st of the campaign. So on the 45. As always, they put the biggest man they can find, Kieran Donaghy, right under his nose. And Flynn just nonchalantly clips that towards the posts and between the posts and over the bar.
Yeah, important score for Kildare. Again, back to level pegging. Keep them in touch, and they deserve to be in this game, but again it's going to be a critical now next few phases of play for them.
I wonder what Keith Cribben is thinking. Must feel unfortunate to have been withdrawn so early. Donaghy has stayed put around the middle. He's helped Kerry win that kick out. Here's Stephen O'Brien. Burns on the ball. He's been very busy in this first half. Up against Johnny Byrne. It was a little bit rash from the youngster, and wide it goes.
Kerry are known for their taking shots in the right areas, and Burns there, that wouldn't be the Kerry way. That should have been recycled, or he should have been bringing it in. Speculative shots from there. That's not what they want to see.
Ball back towards Donlan, almost went over the Kildare end line. Kerry operating at exactly 50% in terms of their shot taking. Kildare efficient enough, 9 from 13. They'll be looking for a big finish to this first half. As long as they're in and around Kerry, there'll be plenty of motivation for them. If Kerry get in front, you would have to question whether Kildare will have the mental fortitude to stick with them. Nothing on the line for them, of course. Here's Healy. That shock of brown hair. Brilliant ball inside to Flynn. If he can get up his marker. Flynn with a shot. Great finish. Oh, he took that so well. And Kildare moved back into a 3-point lead.
Really well taken. The super ball in from is Chris Healy. He's already made a big impact, but going back, it was number 7, Kevin Flynn. He just waltzed right through that middle third from Kerry. Kerry had loads of bodies there. He's obviously setting up a bank, leaving the space in behind. Can't do that if you're just going to let men waltz through it. He set up that play, but again, far too lackadaisical from Kerry in that middle third.
Kerry almost getting themselves turned over close to their own goal here. It's poor from Gavin White. And the anxiety will start to seep in and around Fitzgerald Stadium again. It looked like they'd settle things down with that 1-2 from Clifford. And now Kildare will have a chance to re-establish that 4-point lead.
Switched off again. Going short with the kick out. After been doing so well on the long kick outs, you sort of question that. The policy now for a lot of goalkeeping coaches and go with the 100% option, so maybe just wanted to get the ball in hand after conceding the goal, but need to be tuned in out the field to make sure not get simple turnovers, because they are just bread and butter for any good forward.
Well, Clifford got 1-2 without reply. Neil Flynn has done exactly that now. Brings his own tally to a very tidy 1-3. Kerry have kicked the ball dead. And it's just all starting to get a little bit ragged for the Munster champions. A lot of space in front of Paul Cribben. Does he go for goal? He takes the easier option, the more sensible option, and he knows he's put his side into a 5-point lead.
It's just crazy. Kerry just switched off again. You can hear the crowd in front of us here after getting that big lift. They're so frustrated because Kerry have just dipped again. And Paul Cribben, what is he now? 4 points from play. So whoever's picking up Paul Cribben really needs to start getting on his game.
Well, they fell 5 points behind Monaghan and they turned it around, albeit in a draw. A draw won't be sufficient tonight.
And I'm just looking out here trying to see as Paul Murphy is tracking him, but Paul Murphy's the sort of player you want to be free playing that roving role. Maybe a more man-marking type role would suit on Paul Cribben, because here he is on the ball again.
Looking for another one. Surely not.
5.
That's extraordinary from Paul Cribben. 5 from play, off 5 efforts on goal. An unbelievable return, and the lead is now 6.
Listen, he's given an exhibition from point range, but you'd really have to question how Kerry. I see Gavin White, I think, has moved out onto him, but again I don't see really any intensity. Again, look at him here in the middle of the field, drifting off. Nobody's picking him up. He's just sitting there ready to hit another ball if he gets it handed to him.
It's almost like he is a spare man against a side that have had a man sent off. He's got so much space, and a little bit of afters on that far side. We all question Kildare's motivation, their sense of purpose coming down here. Right now, they're the side playing with all the tempo, all the purpose. Well, Killian Young went down and just got a little bit of a nick then from Neil Flynn afterwards. This might be a better angle, Dick.
I don't think there's much in that, to be honest with you.
A straight red card for Neil Flynn, who's had such a good first half. And that has helped Kildare into a really big lead. And for the second game in a row, one of the Kildare full forward line has been sent off and leaving them down to 14 men.
Unless there's something they missed in that. There's nothing. Hey, he came in under the ground. Didn't see any swinging boot. That was our follow-up. Didn't see that again. I'm not sure. I'm not convinced the referee thought he saw something there.
Well, either way, he has forced the referee into making a decision, and it's gone against Kildare. They do lead by 6, which is the positive, but down to 14 men on a warm, muggy night in Killarney. That will not do their cause any good at all. Can Kerry take solace and encouragement from that? They've won a free in. Kevin Flynn, the culprit. At half-time right now, having had so much momentum, probably can't come quickly enough for Kildare.
Absolutely, it's bizarre first half, really, the way it has swung. Kildare are still 6 points up. They'll be scratching their heads. The kids see Keogh O'Neill is absolutely fuming with that red card. I still haven't seen it. We're going to hopefully see it back here again, unless there's something we all missed, because it was baffling in terms of to get a straight red in a championship game. Never mind just a yellow card.
Sean O'Shea. All of Kerry's points have come from play so far. That's the first 3. Of course, the penalty was from a place ball. Kerry needed that score. They needed a boost as well from the red card.
They did. I'd say in some respects both managers wouldn't mind getting into half-time. Kildare would just maybe like to lock down that big lead, regroup, knowing they're a man down, and Kerry, they've just been a wee bit all over the place in that last 5 minutes.
Donaghy wins the breaking ball in the middle, gets a big shoulder off Mulick, and the referee says that was fair and square. Well, they're incensed on that far side, feeling that ball was carried over the sideline. They'll be even more annoyed if this results in a Kerry score. Clifford up against David Hyland, makes the space. You'd expect him to finish from here, and Kildare will not be happy with that. The lead has gone from 6 to 4, and Tommy Mulick is still down.
Oh yeah, it's lovely watching David Clifford's point. If you haven't seen him done it as many times as he has, but I'm just looking at the Kildare bench. They're furious. Kildare are furious over that lane, not getting that call. And now there's something happened here with Kieran Donaghy and his man.
A real bit of needle in the game now. It's boiling over. It was David Clifford that was sent to the ground as he made his way back out after kicking that score. Who said Kildare weren't up for this one?
This is it. Now they just need to be careful. We'll see now. Was there anything in it? Pulled him down. It was silly. Technically, it's a black card in terms of dragging a man down. Whether the umpire seen it or not, we'll wait and see. Silly stuff. That didn't need to be doing that, you know, after, especially when as a cornerback getting taken for a score like that. You don't want to be bringing any more attention to yourself.
And he was given plenty of attention by the Monaghan defenders. He sucked it all up, soaked it all up, and delivered the killer ball at the end. He's physical enough and capable of dealing with anything that's thrown at him. And that's certainly going to be a booking of some description. They just need to make sure they get the right man. They have got the right man in David Hyland. Now, what colour is the card? Yellow or black, as you say, Dick? It's a pull to the ground. One of the rules of the game, it's a black card, and that's exactly what has happened. They've lost 2 men in 3 minutes. Obviously, this man can be replaced, but it's gone downhill very quickly from a position of real strength for Kildare.
Yeah, whatever about the sending off, we'll see more about that. You know, the incident on the sideline, there's no excuse for that. You know how frustrated you are with decisions going against you. You just got to keep your head for instances like that.
We've won the resulting kick out through Kevin Feely, and that will be needed from him in the second half. Here's Owen Doyle for Conway. There's the half-time whistle. Fascinating first half in Killarney. Kerry were really struggling, down by 6. Well, that red card and the loss of the Kildare fullback subsequent to that, David Hyland, has kept Kerry breathing, and the form Clifford's in, they'll fancy their chances of turning this around. It's a 4-point deficit at half-time at Fitzgerald Stadium. It's Kerry 1-8, Kildare a goal and 12 points. We'll have analysis next. Yeah, thanks, Tamo. Well, there's an awful lot to think about for that man. There'll be a huge amount of pressure on his shoulders if Kerry don't come through this one. Couple of changes made. Killian Young is gone, as is Kieran Donaghy, and in comes James O'Donoghue, former footballer of the year, not a bad man to have on the bench, and Kevin McCarthy, who started the last day against Monaghan, lost his place to Micheál Burns this evening. It was a 27-point hammering for Kildare the last time these sides met. That was in Croke Park 3 years ago. It's 20 years since Kildare last enjoyed a championship win over Kerry. So much could change if they could see this one out. But they are down to 14 men. Kerry looking for a quick start to the second half. Jack Barry trying his best to do that, ran into his own man, and Kildare can bring it away.
Good turnover by Kildare. It'd be just really interesting to see now how Kerry approach the second half, you know, with the new dynamic. Kieran Donaghy's gone off, in fairness. Huge credit has to be given to Mick O'Grady, who just snuffed him out really in that first quarter, put him to bed in terms of that aerial threat. So will Kerry really change up their attacking approach?
Oh, McDonald has been done well close to his own goal. Clifford surely must score. What a mistake that is. That is criminal from the Kildare goalkeeper. And the easiest goal David Clifford will ever score in a Kerry jersey.
And what a sucker punch for Kildare, having done so well in that first half to put them in a position to just get turned over. And a wee bit of better aggression that they hadn't seen from Kerry in that first half in terms of the contact they get. It's a real killer blow for Kildare, but a real shot in the arm for Kerry.
Well, they're still lead, but what must that do for their mindset? Again, on a night when you don't have an awful lot to play for, that can really sap your motivation. Confirmation that David Hyland, who was black carded at the end of the first half, has been replaced by James Murray as Kerry look for the equaliser, but they won't get it just yet.
Kildare just need to settle down. In fairness, probably in the first half we were too concentrated on Kerry, because this game was really about Kerry, because they had the only thing to play for. But Kildare were superb in so many aspects of the game, you know, more so than Paul Gribben. So they're still very much in this game. They're only a point. They're still a point ahead. They're man down, but they still should be really thinking they can get something out of this.
And what a take from David Moore, and that's inspirational stuff. And huge moments either side of half-time. The red card and a gift of a goal, and suddenly Kerry have the wind in their sails again. Gainey, stroked it over, and look at the reaction as well. The first moment we've seen from Paul Gainey. Kerry have turned a 6-point deficit around and we're level.
Yeah, well, Jim McGuinness was talking about pressure, and the pressure is on this Kerry team at the minute. You can see the reaction from Paul Geaney. That was a man that looked like he was playing with an awful lot of pressure over the last 2 games, and that was a pressure relief just let out.
Yeah, you could really feel the valve release there from Paul Geaney. Feely wins the kick out. Kildare need to respond here if they're to be a factor in this game for the duration. Healy, a bundle of energy, might be the man to help them do that. Now it's with Kevin Flynn. 2 Kerry goals, a penalty and a gift from the goalkeeper. A little ball inside, Brophy's gone in towards the edge of the square. That's as far advanced as he's been in the entire game, and he's won a needless free from a Kerry point of view there.
Yeah, really intelligent play from Kildare. Just got the match up right in terms of a mismatch on Brophy and Crowley. Let the ball high in. He was just positioned on the right side, so he was either going to get the ball or going to get fouled. And Crowley, in fairness, who defended very well for large parts of the first half, just overstepped on a very needed point here for Kildare to put them back in front.
They're taken by Kevin Feely. All but 2 points of Kildare's tally of 112 have been from play. Make that 3 points. And Kildare do retake the lead. Kildare have switched Paul Cribben into midfield and left Kevin Feely up just as they try and go man for the kick out. Of course, they can't quite go man for man given that they're down to 14 men. And Kerry will find those pockets of space to work it short. Here's Stephen O'Brien. Helps it on. Kerry now starting to find a bit of space. Lost though by Tom O'Sullivan. Collects it again. Back to Geaney. Goes beyond Mick O'Grady. Paul Geaney still going. He might have a goal in his mind. Donnellan did well. There was an advantage being played, but the Kildare goalkeeper had to stand tall, partially atoning for his earlier mistake.
Yeah, you see what a bit of confidence does with Paul Geaney. You know, player does not play in confidence would either shuffle that ball off or move it out. He backed himself, went that extra yard. He was either going to get through for the score or get pulled back.
Sean O'Shea looking for his second, which he gets, and we're level again. Of course, everything that happens here will be academic. If Monaghan beat Galway, there'll be nothing Kerry can do about that. And Monaghan are leading by 3 at the moment. Kerry have to focus on their job, fulfill their side of the bargain. A lot of space beneath the dropping ball for Jack Barry. Trying to charge his way through though. Sent in by Peter Kelly. Good ball. Paddy Brophy looking to put Kildare back in front. He's a little isolated. Brophy did well, just kept his cool. The angle was acute and he just couldn't quite steer it inside the post.
He done very well. Very astute, I think, from Cian O'Neill. He knows he's going to need an outlet. He knows he's going to need a target man to keep themselves in this game, because they're not going to be able to work everything through the hands. And he's using Paddy Brophy to really good effect so far in this second half.
Their captain Owen Doyle has now taken up the marking of David Clifford after they lost David Hyland to that black card before half-time. Helped on by Gavin White, David Moore, and he's been very influential tonight. Into Clifford, stays on the field, inside to Jack Barry. The 2 nines chasing each other around Fitzgerald Stadium. Jack Barry gets the better of Merlick, puts Kerry in front for just the second time in the game.
Yeah, and definitely Jack Barry. I know the first ball he overturned it, but again you can see it in him. A bit more drive. It's Ames with Marshall's just urging his players to just be more positive, back themselves, a bit more intensity in their play with and without the ball, and we've seen that so far.
And they'll win another kick out. This is Mulick across to Healy. Niall Kelly again, immediately looking for Brophy. Goalkeeper Brian Kelly's left his line. He's gone back home now. Brophy turns. What a block down from Peter Crowley. It will be a 45, but that was brilliant play, having lost his man initially.
He did, but it had to be because he'd lost him. Paddy Brophy again had talked about him being the target man for Kildare. That's obviously going to be a ploy, and it's working out so far for him. Crowley had to be at his very best there to deny a score for Kildare.
There's a bit of an issue for Kildare is that their free taker in chief, Neil Flynn, was lost to that red card in the first half. He sent over a wonderful 45. So up comes Mark Donnellan, who'll be desperate to make a couple of significant contributions after being embarrassed by Kerry's forward line in the concession of the second Kerry goal. Well, he won't lack in distance, but he's way off target.
No.
He's never kicked a score in championship football for Kildare, Mark Donnellan.
No. Just, again, not a lot of keepers obviously hitting long range. He hasn't been because Neil Flynn has been so efficient, so he just didn't look confident when he stepped up to that, and the strike sort of proved that.
I feel a couple of Kerry scores and the Kildare challenge and spirit in particular might just start to wane. Here's Stephen O'Brien. Lovely dummy solo. Stephen O'Brien had a goal in his mind, but he put enough power on it to at least leave with a point.
And they're just playing with that wee bit more energy, that wee bit more confidence in themselves. That goal, there's just that lifeline that Kildare give them. It just seems to have energised Kerry, and are now starting to play with much more confidence and purpose.
Well, Kerry have outscored Kildare by 1-6 to a point from the 35th minute of the first half. It's been some turnaround. This was the run of Stephen O'Brien. Dummy was bought by Paul Cribben.
You would have to feel for Kildare, you know, that sending off, which was a lot of times you wouldn't get a red card for that, even though it was maybe a little bit petulant with the follow-up. A lot of times you wouldn't get a red card for that, yeah, and then to give them a goal in the way that they had. Two massive calls is now one of the main reasons that Kerry are ahead, obviously, because for most of this game Kildare have been the better team on balance.
Donnellan's kick out. Targeting Mulick and Feely. Oh, what a piece of fielding that is. We've seen some brilliant exhibition of fielding tonight. Here's Healy. Inside it goes to Kelly. Cribben looking for his 6th point. He's curling it in. Well, it proves that he is just about fallible. That's his first wide of 6 efforts on goal.
He has been flawless to that point today, but going back to that catch from Kevin Feely, like he really is one of the midfielders in the game at the minute that is just a joy to watch climbing. It was sort of a day in art there for a long time with the mark, and just having a player of his natural ability is just a real joy to watch.
Kevin McCarthy almost spilled it into the chest of Chris Healy. Neil Burns measured that one wonderfully well in towards James O'Donoghue. He's left Peter Kelly in his wake. O'Donoghue, goal! And maybe that is the moment that we'll see Kerry take over this game. His first championship goal in 3 years. Hadn't got one since the drawn Munster final game with Cork in 2015.
Just that, going back, and we've seen it now from how many Kerry players in this half, just taking his man on, going at pace, backing yourself. These are good players. Jim Dunn's player of the year back in 2014. You know, that's what he's about. What a confidence lift that'll be for both him, the Kerry players, and the Kerry supporters who are starting to find their voice here in front of us.
Well, they're taking over all over the field now. Clifford, 2-2 already for him. 2-3 in fact. And he has left that beautifully. He cannot miss, David Clifford. Kicked 2 wides in the first 15 minutes, and since then the radar has been fully functioning.
He has, and in fairness, you know, Owen Doyle, who's been one of Kildare's best defenders and best players this year, there's not much you can do against a man like that when he gets ball in that range, because he's just so elusive. 2 feet, and his radar's in. All he needs is a fraction to slot the ball over.
It's quite incredible. Either side of half time, including injury time, it's 12 minutes, Dick, and it has been a 12-point turnaround.
And poor and all Kerry have been in a lot of this game, going back to the Monaghan game as well. When you have that quality, you don't need that long to make it count on the scoreboard. An awful lot of teams have to work an awful lot harder to get those scores. Kerry just have them there. They just need the ball, they need that confidence, they need that energy, and they can find it very quick, and you've seen it again here tonight.
And the Kerry lead is 6. Just as importantly, the Monaghan lead in Pearse Stadium is 5. So Kerry must continue to do what they're doing, but it'll all be in vain unless Galway can dig them out of a massive hole. Here's Micheál Burns. Coming onto it is Jack Barry. And suddenly Kildare are chasing shadows. They've been brilliant in this game, Kildare. But they're really struggling, and now Kerry, much as they were against Clare in the first round of the Munster Championship, just coming forward at will and clipping scores over.
And that's all about confidence. These players are as natural as you're going to get in the country. And they'll score when they're backing themselves. Now, Kildare is sort of a crucial time for them. They need to get the ball in the hands. They need to try and get a bit of a score. And this is when you've nothing to play for, sometimes can prove itself to be a real limiting factor, because do you have that drive? Do you have that willingness to work that wee bit harder? We'll see now from Kildare in the next 10 minutes.
7 points and a man down. What a mountain that is to climb, in the shadow of the mountains here at Fitzgerald Stadium. 3-1 by Fergal Conway. They need goals, so they'll go long and direct. Paddy Brophy's very much outnumbered in there. Here's David Moore and picks the ball up in plenty of space. Rides one tackle. O'Shea for White. And now David Clifford. He's got now 4-12 in 3 Super 8 fixtures. And he's going for more. Unselfish this time. Kildare, have they dealt with it? Not quite just yet. And the referee's just going to bring a halt to the game because there are 2 players down with what look like head injuries. So the referee absolutely right to just press pause.
Kildare will be thankful of that break. Keane O'Neill, his team just need to get Kildare settle down, get back, get some of that possession that they sort of dominated for an awful lot of the first half. Get the main men back into the game, try and work a score, take the sting out of it, because Kerry are just sort of getting into their stride. They're trying to enjoying themselves too much, and that'd be worrying for the rest of this game, because 7 points down, as you say, Dave, man down. It could be a long last 20 minutes if they don't.
Paul Gainey hasn't moved an awful lot since hitting the deck. Kerry know if they do somehow get out of this hole, they'll be taking on the All-Ireland champions Dublin in a week's time. They'll need Paul Gainey for that. But that seems a long way off at the moment, given what's going on up in Galway.
Try and contain my nervous energy with what's going on up the road, Dave. It's exciting times, but everything going well.
Monaghan now leading by 13 points to 8 in Solihull. And right now they top the group. It's Galway that will take on the All-Ireland champions Dublin. Monaghan would be facing either Donegal or Tyrone in an All-Ulster All-Ireland semi-final. Eamon Callaghan has come in for Kildare for the last 20 minutes. Fergal Conway making way in what could be Eamon Callaghan's final game. What a servant to Kildare he has been. 15 years since his debut. Quite incredible, the commitment he's made to his county in the meantime. The man who's played in an All-Ireland semi-final himself. Here's James O'Donoghue, brings his haul to 1-1.
Yeah,
and it's just a question now, Dick, of how much they win this game by.
It is, and it's hard to see it tipping back anyway, but Eamon Callaghan, in his prime, he was one of the players that you'd definitely be looking at to turn it. As I know well, age catches up, there's only so much you can do, but listen, he's been a massive servant. He'll love getting out there and don't be surprised to see him getting a few scores to keep Kildare in this.
Free in for Kerry, taken by Moore. Guided inside to Gainey by Tom O'Sullivan. One Dingle man to another. Back out to O'Donoghue, plays his club football here in the town of Killarney with Legion. Trying to find Clifford, but it's hoovered up by Owen Doyle. And some of the questions we'd raised in the build-up are now starting to be answered in terms of Kildare's ability to stay in the game. When things go against them, it's no surprise that they haven't been able to stay motivated and hang on to the coattails of a Kerry team, Dick Clerkin, that were treading water for so much of the first half.
And we'll go back to that sending off. Is that going to be the pivotal turning point? Even, yes, they were gifted a goal. You felt extra man, you know, home support, more to play for. That sending off was going to be the big deciding factor, and you know, you can see now that, you know, just Kildare are just getting really difficult to get their hands on the ball and retain possession.
It's a 15-point turnaround since the 35th minute of the first half. In 18 minutes, it's quite something. This game has been turned completely upside down. The two key moments, the red card to Neil Flynn and the huge error from the Kildare goalkeeper Mark Donnellan. Kerry have taken full advantage. Inside to Brophy, laid back to Cribben. Well, he took a few too many steps there, Paul Cribben, and he's certainly not enjoying a second half like the one he enjoyed in the first.
Just getting a bit closer attention, you know. We said for far too long in that first half he was just waltzing around and with deadly effect, you know, racking up scores. So he's just got, you know, again, I've no doubt that was mentioned in the dressing room at half time in Memphis Morris' speech, so you can see that he's definitely been pushed up a lot more.
Well, we asked Aaron Fitzmaurice before the game, would he be giving signals out to the players, some information as to what was happening up in Galway as they win another free in and a chance to extend their lead. He probably isn't now, Dick, because any information he would be sending in is irrelevant.
He can't do much unless he wants to try and send David Clifford up in the taxi up line out for Galway, because he needs Galway to do a favour. That's it. He's done his bit by the looks of things here. It's hard to see this game going any other way. I'm not even going to attempt fate at this stage being a Monaghan man in terms of what this game may or may not prove to be for Kerry, but listen, all he can do is play the game in front of him, and he'll have to be happy how his team has responded.
There's the foul on Paul Gainey, who's taken a bit of punishment in the last few minutes. And there's a man with plenty of All-Ireland medals, left and right there. Dennis O'Gimore, and of course his son David is playing midfield tonight for Kerry, and Owen Liston. As Cian O'Neill watches on, a man who had a huge role to play for Kerry and their backroom staff at one stage in his coaching career. Sean O'Shea kicks his third. And for the third time this summer, Kerry are going to rack up a huge score at Fitzgerald Stadium. They hammered Clare and Cork. They're going to hammer Kildare now.
Like, just look here. I don't know if the camera can see it on the Kerry push up. The 8 men, 2 lines of 4. Like, talk about a full press on the Kildare kick out. So you can see what they want them to do. Yeah.
There's O'Brien for O'Donoghue. Helped on to O'Shea, and then in turn to Stephen O'Brien. And Donnellan gets a block in. And it's just a turkey shoot at this stage. Kerry know they can score at will.
They just need to keep the ball a wee bit. You know, there's no men up. You know, Em McCann's trying to get up there as a point of attack, but there's nearly 2 men in the vicinity. So they just need to get the ball here, try and work a score, and try and get themselves back into the game.
That's a miscue from Eamon Callaghan. Brophy trying to make something of it, and that's a wide ball. It's gone very quiet in Fitzgerald Stadium. I get the sense that the Kerry supporters around us are fully aware of what's happening up the road.
Yeah, and it's I'm sort of caught betwixt and between here. I don't want to tempt things, because we've seen what happened in Clonus. We've seen what happened in Clonus. So a 6-point lead for Monaghan, promising situation, which is a phenomenal achievement for Monaghan at this stage if it continues in that vein. It's going to be a very strange after-match atmosphere here for Kerry, because they've had a big championship win, but their season's over by the looks of things. So very, very strange for them.
Darren O'Sullivan, man who's in his 14th championship season, has come in for Kerry. Will we see him again? He had a big role to play off the bench that day when they beat Kildare by 27 points. It's not quite that bad today, but it's going to be well beyond double digits. Here's Healy. Back to Feely. And Paddy Brophy on the wraparound. Well watched this time by Peter Crowley, who's had an effective second half. It wasn't he who committed the foul, it was the retreating Jack Barry.
Just a bit overzealous there in the tackle. And Jack Barry, again, a bit more contact again, but that's the aggression. If things play out the way that they are at the minute, and Liam Fitzmaurice will be looking at this half and just saying, why did he not see this from his Kerry team for the full duration of this Super 8? Like, why did they not carry this into the Galway game? Why did they not have it, the first half when they were just so toothless against Monaghan? And he could have a long winter of what if things play out the way that they are at the minute.
Kevin Feely with his second. Tadhg Morley coming in for Jason Foley. At the risk of the man to my right throwing himself out of the commentary box in delight, I should tell you that the lead is now 7 up in Salthill. Monaghan are getting their job done, which means Kerry will have no further participation in this year's championship, barring a huge turnaround up the road. Here's Tadhg Morley barely on the field, and his first touch leads to a score.
Yeah, Kerry players, the supporters here, I'd be interested to know, will the Kerry players know at this stage what's happening? I'd say not. I'd say there's no value in knowing that there's nothing to play for effectively at this stage, because they're just doing what they have to do. They're playing like the Kerry supporters, the management. They know themselves want to play. Play positive, play attacking football, play off the front foot, and they're showing what they really are capable of when they're put their mind to it.
Kildare have been turned over deep inside their own half again. There's another goal on here. And it's been put wide. It looks like it was saved by Mark Donnell, and it's gone out for a 45.
Yep.
But they really are a shambles now, Kildare. It's all falling apart.
Yeah, and super save for Mark Donnell. In fairness, you could forgive him for being sort of head down after that turnover. He stood up, done his job. Really good save there on Jack Barry's effort.
Well, that's a telltale sign. They are now starting to stream out of Fitzgerald Stadium. A full 10 minutes plus injury time before the end. And this is not how Kerry saw their season ending. In victory, but really in defeat. They are going to come out the right side of this result. But after a hugely promising Munster Championship campaign, the wheels have come off in the inaugural Super 8s. And for just the second time in the last 7 years, Kerry will not be playing in the All-Ireland semi-finals. Beaten by Donegal in 2012, then the previous to that it was down in 2010. Another change made by Cian O'Neill. Mark Hyland has come in. Peter Kelly had a very good first half withdrawn. I can say that about all the Kildare players. They really were superb in the opening 35 minutes.
Yeah, and really, let's be fair to Kildare. It's not going to be a pretty scoreline at the end of this, and they don't deserve to finish a season like this, Dave. They got off to a horrendous start in Leinster. That was almost a season-ending defeat against Carlow, but look how they bounced back. Yes, the momentum around the Newbridge incident, but they played some super football. And really they can sort of look ahead to next year, knowing that they've every right to be playing at this level, and look forward to the momentum that they've brought through the games. And they've been unlucky in many instances, very unlucky in the league, very unlucky not to be playing Division 1 football next year, because they were very close in a lot of those games. But not to be too deflated if they do get a bit of a clip in here, because in fairness, they have been a credit, and Cian O'Neill and the Kildare supporters can be very proud of their efforts.
So Kerry continuing to press on. The lead is now 10 thanks to that Johnny Byrne score. 11 different scores for Kerry tonight, led by this man David Clifford, who's got 2-4. Darren O'Sullivan. Stephen O'Brien. O'Donoghue. Football of the year the last time Kerry won the All-Ireland. There'll be at least a 5-year gap until their next victory at Croke Park in September. And it'll be one All-Ireland in 10 years for Kerry, which is not what they expect around these parts. Sean O'Shea. Across it goes to Kevin McCarthy. He easily goes inside the tackle of Colin McNally. And the Kildare players are falling off tackles all over the field now. Another good save from Mark Donnellan.
Yeah.
But there's absolutely no intensity or endeavour out there now for Kildare. They just want this game to be over so they can go out and enjoy themselves in Killarney.
They do. They're well entitled to do it. But again, super save of Mark Donnellan. You know, championship football, Kerry, Killarney, he can look back in this second half, you know, blip out that incident, to top class saves. He has 15 now in Dare to Dream at this stage, Dave, up in Salt Hill.
Liam Fitzmaurice will know exactly what's happening. He'll know deep within his heart that Kerry's race is run, maybe his own race as well. One player who'll be around for many years to come, you feel, is Sean O'Shea, standing over this 45. He took away his first Munster Championship medal this year. That's his 5th. And if there are positives to be taken from Kerry's season, it's the introduction of the likes of Tom O'Sullivan, Gavin White, Foley, Sean O'Shea, David Clifford. The future is bright. Kerry, of course, having delivered a whole host of All-Ireland minor medals to the county in the last 3 years. Kildare have an under-20 final to look forward to tomorrow. So the future at underage level and senior level looks bright for them also. Here's Chris Healy. Given straight to Sean O'Shea.
I'm just thinking, Dave, check me if I'm wrong here, I think Kerry are going to have the unenvious tag of being the first team in championship history to exit the championship after winning the game.
Here's Feely. I'd say you're absolutely right on that one, Dick. It's a bit of an anomaly that the Super 8 will throw up. Moran over the top to Darren O'Sullivan, but he was second to that ball.
Yeah, you're talking about Kerry. Yeah, a lot of positives, absolutely. Sort of, but in fairness, a lot of people knew that talent was there. I suppose there'll be big question marks, and there's no point in saying otherwise around Ian Fitzmaurice, you know, and decisions and how they sort of set up and played over the balance of the Super 8, which is effectively how they have to be determined on this season. Not just in one game, not just in one half. Like, ultimately, they weren't good enough. If they were good enough to get out of the group, they would have beaten Monaghan, they would have beaten Galway. They just haven't been good enough, and you know, that's what Kerry people will be demanding, that they should have been, based on what they've seen in this second half, that team should have been good enough to progress, and that's because that's the standards they set here. So, yeah, they'll be positive about the youth coming through, but they want to be sure that they have the right man to bring that youth through, and there'll be questions to be asked. There's no point in saying otherwise.
They're looking to just increase their own tally, which they have done. Well, Dick, it really has been a game of two halves, isn't it? Kildare dominant for much of the first, Kerry hammering them in the second. Who stood out for you this evening?
In the first half, it was largely about Kildare, you know, and you know, the performance of Paul Gribben was just outstanding. You know, 5 points from play, it was stellar, and should be in the running for an All-Star regardless of this. But over the balance of the game, when Kerry weren't going well, you know, Clifford again was the man that stepped up and showed that leadership, and he carried that through into the second half to really put the stake through Kildare. Like, he's been one of the highlights of not just Kerry's season but the championship to date. It's a pity we're not going to see much more of him, but you could say that if it had been normal championship you wouldn't have seen him in the last 2 games because they've been out after losing to Galway. So he's for me the clear man of the match here tonight.
And he's helped it on to Darren O'Sullivan there, who in turn picks out of O'Donoghue. So David Clifford now turning creator. 2-4 for his tally tonight. And what a season he's had, his debut season in senior inter-county football. He's only got to grace the turf at Croke Park just once in this campaign, but you feel he'll be back there many times in the years to come.
Just doing a wee tot from here, so we 212 coming in, so that's 416. That's not a bad return in your debut season, and the vast majority of that coming from play, and you know, we're all going to look forward to seeing him play in the years to come.
And there he is. He seems to cruise around like he owns the place. Plays with such a degree of confidence. He is the airman of the match, and himself must be in the running for an All-Star, and surely one of the chief contenders for the Young Footballer of the Year award.
Well, if he doesn't, I'd love to see who gets it ahead of him, but there's still plenty of football to be played. You know, the reality is we're only at effectively quarter-final stage, and we know what can happen when semi-finals and beyond. But listen, he has one. It's up to somebody else to try and step up and top him and take it off him at this stage, in my opinion.
And maybe Brian Howard of Dublin, the man who's most likely to give him a little bit of competition for that gong. Of course, did go to a dub last year in Conor O'Callaghan. Brino Bugli has come in for Kerry. And all of this is just academic, really, because Kerry would have come in here with high hopes, hoping Galway, the form they've shown, only beaten by Dublin in League or Championship, would have done them a massive favour. As Jack Barry pops another one over the bar. That's his third.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, my attention's starting to slip here, you know, and that looks to be a historic victory for Monaghan in the bag up the road. Again, it's adding to sort of a strange subplot here with the Kerry fans, you know, deflated after such a strong. But you know, you'll sort of forgive me for being so proud of what the lads have done up the road. You know, if they can hold on, which by all counts it looks, you know, next weekend the double header, minors, seniors playing in an All-Ireland semi-final. Sort of have to almost pinch myself to believe that at this stage.
Stephen O'Brien gets pulled down. Well, they've been leaving in their huge numbers long before the finish. It's unusual to see a team comfortably winning. There won't be many around to celebrate it with them. There'll be no celebrations at all. Kerry, like Kildare, are just looking for this game to be done, but neither set of supporters will be keen to hear that we'll have 5 additional minutes at the end of the 70.
And the groans in front of us here, Dave. God, it wasn't that bad, in fairness, you know. An employer once said to me there's no lock at the gate, but they're staying here. They want to see it through. They probably want to salute their team off. In fairness, very proud. You know, you can sort of smell the pride of football here. They'll want to stay here. They want to clap their players off because they know, in fairness, to finish on a positive note and know that they're behind them for next year and beyond.
Well done. Clearly hasn't been stung by the mistake he made earlier as he goes a long way from goal. Gets rid of it a bit earlier this time. There's been a flurry of red cards up in Salthill. Damien Comer of Galway, Colin Walsh of Monaghan have both been sent off for receiving second yellow cards. Monaghan still leading by 15 points to 8, well into injury time. There'll be more cards shown here. There may even be a red. It's a yellow card to Stephen O'Brien. There could be a card here for Mick O'Grady. It is red. There was definitely a punch thrown. Definitely a strike there for Mick O'Grady. And Kildare this evening goes from bad to worse. It's the third red card they've had shown to their players in 2 games. Another look at this stick. Frustration boiling over. Well, he certainly didn't connect to the face of Stephen O'Brien. He did raise his hand.
I don't know, Dave. Technically, yeah, you go to the rule book, and technically probably the referees covered. Was there intent, or was there, listen, if you're getting sent off for stuff like that, I don't know where Gaelic football's go. And again, Cian O'Sullivan can feel very aggrieved, or so Cian O'Neill can be very aggrieved to lose a man under those circumstances.
As you said in the past, Dick, you'd have been permanently suspended if you were being sent off for any tackle such as that.
We played hurling, that's what they've done.
Well, Monaghan are leading by double scores now. They are cruising into the All-Ireland semi-finals. They're easing their way into top spot in this group. Kerry will be in third, and they will be out of the championship. And they'll have to have a rethink and a reshuffle in the winter months as David Clifford moves his tally on to 2-5, 4-13 in the Super 8s for what is already becoming one of the most dangerous attacking players in the game at 19 years of age.
And you just sort of sense now that the Kerry players know what's happened. Either the waters come in off the bench, or that you can just sort of tell from the stands that they've done their bit, but there's nothing to play for, and it's deflating for them. They'll be again like the game for Smart, sort of what ifs. Why didn't they deliver this sort of level of performance, albeit against the Kildare team, down a man and nothing to play for. So that comes with its own sort of asterisk, but they know they're probably better than they sort of proved over the duration of the Super 8.
Cian O'Neill will try and take the positives from it. Very competitive in Division 1. And in each of their 3 games, they've played very well for large periods of them against Galway, Monaghan, and now Kerry. And they've got themselves a goal here. And I think there may have been an injury as well, as Paul Cribben has fired one to the back of the net. I just wonder, did he tweak his hamstring in the process?
We'll see here now. Yeah. Paul Cribben 1-5 from centre half forward. You'd like to think he'd be on the winning side of most teams with that. And again, as we said earlier, he's been fantastic this season. Second half didn't go his way, and it was, in fairness, it's due credit for him to finish off this game on a high note. There's one player out there for Kildare, not just today but over the season. It was Paul Cribben to finish to the back of the net, and fair play to him.
Well, he has picked up an injury in dispatching that one into the Kerry goal. So he limps from the field. And we're into the final 30 seconds, thankfully for everybody in Fitzgerald Stadium, I think. Mark to Darren O'Sullivan. It's all over in Salthill. And Monaghan have topped the group. They have beaten Galway, and they booked their place in the All-Ireland semi-final for the first time since 1988. You were a mere chiseler at the time, Dick.
I remember being at it. I'm just looking at the scenes here beside us here.
These are the scenes in Pearse Stadium up in Galway at the moment, and that is how much it means to the people of Monaghan, who've had to wait an awful long time to be in this position.
Yeah, somebody send the chopper. I can't be the only man looking around Killarney today. There's only one place to be, either Killarney or up in Monaghan town. I think, in Galway. It's fantastic scenes, and huge credit to all the Monaghan players. Malik O'Rourke there, we're seeing him a shot. Nobody probably backed them to come out of this group. They're always that question mark. Could they win a big game? Could they do what had to be done? I always felt the Super 8 would benefit Monaghan. Takes the pressure off that one big game in Croke Park, and it has proven us. Very competent team. Going to a semi-final against either Tyrone or Donegal. What a chance for Monaghan.
What a chance indeed, and what a poor night it is for Kerry. Full-time whistle is gone. It's a huge victory in the end. But for Eamon Fitzmaurice and his Kerry players, it's a championship season that has ended in huge disappointment. I think Cian O'Neill may be asking Eamon Fitzmaurice, what is the situation up in Galway? They all know now, and they'll have seen from the thousands of fans leaving the game early, that Kerry's race was run long before the end of this game. Full time, it's finished here in Fitzgerald Stadium in Killarney. A huge win for Kerry, but a massive disappointment overall. They've beaten Kildare by 325 to 216.
Thank you very much, Steve.